Current time, 4:48 a.m. Location, San Diego International Airport. Sponsored video? Yes. Thanks, Surfshark. Hey everyone, it's Scott from SANspotter.com again, and I do have to say that it's pretty awesome to be standing here in the middle of the road like this without the threat of being mowed down by a speeding rental car shuttle bus. Yep, the coronavirus pandemic was still very much a thing here on the day that I shot this video, and apocalyptic isn't a strong enough word to describe the vibe I'm feeling here at Terminal 1. Anyway, I am here this morning to catch Frontier Airlines flight number 552 to Denver. It's been a few years since I've last flown Frontier Airlines, and I've been hearing a lot of things on the internet that would lead me to believe that Frontier Airlines is the worst in the United States. Hopefully everything goes right today, and I can use this video as proof that this airline ain't so bad. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, though, as I'm still standing here at the baggage counter ready to begin this flight. By the way, I didn't have any bags to check this morning. I just had my backpack with me, which meant that I was feeling hopeful that nothing would go wrong. Speaking of things going wrong, this flight is departing out of Terminal 1 here in San Diego, and that's never a good way to begin a long journey. You want to know what's really stupid? This was my first flight in over 4 months, and I should have been really excited to be here. But in the days leading up to this flight, I was really getting hooked on the Prison Break TV series over on Netflix. I just started Season 2 the night prior, and I was already having withdrawals here in Terminal 1 this morning. Surfshark to the rescue. The only way to watch Prison Break here in the US is with a high-quality VPN like Surfshark, because, well, Netflix doesn't make it available in the US market for some reason. With Surfshark, it's super easy to virtually change my location, and I'm streaming what I want whenever I want, with no issues. Not only that, Surfshark's privacy and security features are top-notch. I have no idea who's in charge of the Wi-Fi here in Terminal 1, and because of that, I'm somewhat skeptical that there isn't someone doing malicious things with the data I'm transmitting to and from my device. Simply put, Surfshark prevents anyone from intercepting my data. Not that I'm ashamed to admit that I'm addicted to Prison Break or anything, but it's the principle of the matter. Anyway, Surfshark is a fantastic deal in normal times, but it's especially good when they are running offers like the one going on right now. Using the link in the description below, along with the promo code SCOTT, you can get Surfshark for 83% off, plus an extra 3 months thrown in for free. Remember, you gotta use the promo code SCOTT to get in on this deal. And now, if you'll excuse me, the brothers just split up and I have no idea where this is going. Something I wasn't expecting to see. This aircraft is only 10 years old, but it's wearing the old livery, which in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but it also meant that there's a high probability that this aircraft still featured the old seats. And those old seats are not as good as the new ones. Oh well, I'll deal with that later. Looks like it's still pretty empty here at the gates, and I was starting to think also that I just might be the only person on this flight today. Cool would that be? And of course, my anxiety kicked in the more I had a look around and I realized that I truly was the only one here this morning. Was there something going on that I didn't know about, other than the whole coronavirus pandemic? Or, even worse, is Frontier Airlines really as bad as everyone has been saying over the past couple years? I'm usually pretty stubborn about things, and there's no way I was going to run out of the airport now without giving Frontier Airlines a proper chance. I was committed to making this video. Thankfully, a lot more people showed up the closer we got to flight time, and by the time the boarding process started, it was just like a normal flight. Terminal 1 was as busy as ever, and it was starting to look like I had nothing to worry about. Of course, I'm not even on the airplane yet, but yeah. For those that don't know, Frontier Airlines names each of their aircraft after a different animal, and the name of this aircraft? Grizz, named after that guy. Personally, I'm a Flo the Flamingo kind of guy, but that's a topic for a different trip report. Thankfully, despite the old livery on this aircraft, these are indeed the new seats, which are fantastic, by the way, for an ultra-low-cost carrier such as Frontier. I actually quite like these. No, they're not exactly what I would call spacious or comfortable, but they look great, and they're decent enough for short 1 to 2 hour flights. I've got nothing to complain about, especially with the fares that Frontier Airlines offers. I think I paid $120 for this flight to Denver this morning, and you know what? You can't beat that, especially with what Delta and United charge for flights on this exact same route. Of course, you'll get real armrests on both United and Delta, but it is what it is. Okay, so for everyone keeping score so far, the only legitimate thing to ding Frontier Airlines so far on this flight is the seats. Maybe? I mean, they're not that great. They look good, but they're not all that comfortable, so maybe that's one thing. Otherwise, we're getting out of here on time, the cabin crew seems great, and, believe it or not, the plane isn't even on fire yet, which, according to all the social media I've been reading, made it seem like it was bound to happen even before we pushed off the gate. All stupid jokes aside, this morning has been absolutely perfect so far. As I've said earlier, I've never had anything bad to say about Frontier Airlines. They've always been professional and just as good as any other airline in my opinion, and I think the important thing to remember is to keep your expectations low. As long as you go into your next Frontier Airlines flight knowing that it's just going to be a bare-bones experience, you're going to be fine. Don't expect really comfortable seats, don't expect great service, heck, don't expect any service at all. Just remember that they're a safe and dependable airline that will get you where you need to go. Usually far cheaper than the other guys, of course. Except Spirit. I'm not really sure, but I think it's the cabin service that gets everybody riled up about Frontier Airlines. Basically, there is no cabin service. Especially during times of COVID, which was when I took this flight. There was nothing. If I wanted to eat, I had to bring my own snacks. Got my water, I've got my nuts. And because I promised to stop making nut jokes in my videos a long time ago, all I'm gonna say is that it was a far better snack than anything that Frontier Airlines could have possibly given me. And I will say, as I'm trying to think of things to say for this voiceover, I love nuts would be perfect narration for these video clips. But I'm not going to say that. Instead, all I'm going to say is that I'm quite enjoying this flight on Frontier Airlines. Quick shout out to my sister here for gifting me these awesome socks at Christmas several years ago. I never fly without them. Turning my attention back to the flight now, things are going really well. The scenery on the San Diego to Denver segment is always really interesting, especially in the wintertime, and today was no exception. No, the seats aren't very comfortable, but if I turn my head and look out the window every now and then, it keeps my spirits up. And speaking of spirit, it's probably a good time to mention that the Frontier Airlines experience is very much like you would get on Spirit Airlines. I'm a bigger fan of Frontier Airlines more than I am of Spirit Airlines, but a lot of times I'm going to choose Spirit only because they're a larger airline, and if anything goes wrong, like a flight cancellation or anything like that, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be better taken care of on Spirit than you will be on Frontier. Frontier, unfortunately, doesn't have the route network that Spirit does, so Spirit is more likely to get you where you need to go if things go wrong. But as I said, Frontier is my favorite if all things are equal. Anyway, welcome to Denver, where the temperature is 0 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is negative 17 Celsius. It's cold out there, and I didn't bring a jacket. Typical of me. Huge thanks to the SANspotter patrons for supporting me and what I do. Aaron Slater, David Kelly, Naomi Slivko, Riley Wingo, Simon from the SD AV Geek YouTube channel, Neil from the Moment in the Sky YouTube channel, thank you so much for your support. And that's it from me this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and if I don't die from the cold, I'll catch you in the next one.